Samantha Gualito. In many ways, Samantha, are you here? Where's Samantha? Hey, okay. In many ways, Samantha started her educator journey as Literacy Works program associate way back in 2017. That was like more than a pandemic ago. She is a former CPS high school English teacher and now works with middle school kids, teaching them crucial SEL skills, social emotional learning skills. In 3 days, she will be starting her journey toward becoming a reading specialist, which means she's going back to grad school again, the bio says. Again. She hopes to live in Chicago and serve Chicago's youth for as long as she lives. And can I please be probably not the first to tell you, we will be lucky to have you, Samantha. Please stay and work with our students in Chicago. Samantha, come up and tell us about a book that changed your life.
This definitely needs to come down. Okay, hi. So I used to work for Literacy Works, and it's really wild to be here because Nora, you actually taught at Lane while I was there. No. Didn't have you as a teacher, but definitely remember you. We are literally everywhere. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. More Lane people for sure. And then John was helping me through meeting with Melanie, like when I was first becoming a teacher, gave me some advice, and so it's just really nice to be here. So I want to thank everybody at Literacy Works, especially. So I'm definitely reading off my phone because I don't have anything memorized. Let's see. Where'd that go? Okay. So I am still a baby educator, but again, really want to thank everybody for having me here. So I am the oldest sibling, but growing up, I didn't have anybody kind of passing down their interests or cool hobbies to me. But I did have older cousins who were soccer players and music lovers. But unfortunately, I was not an athlete when I was younger, and I'm still not an athlete. But books were my thing, right? I also loved music, though, and they got me hooked on The Doors, which I know is like a really old band, but yeah, I was obsessed. And I was so obsessed that I got a biography on Jim Morrison, and that was like my favorite book in 8th grade. Yes. And his biography had a section about the books that he read when he was a teenager. So, of course, I went and read those books as a teenager. And there was one book in particular that changed my life. So, that book is very popular with white men. And as you can tell, I am not a white man. And I don't think a lot of people know about this book. And if they do know about the book, it's not very well liked, so I don't get a lot of positive feedback about it. But yeah, that book is none other than On the Road by Jack Kerouac. So if you are not familiar with this book, this is the book that was famously written in a stream of consciousness style. This edition is actually word for word on the scroll, so it's like a continuously long piece of paper that literally, if you look through the book, there are no paragraphs. It's just one giant paragraph. He also famously wrote this while he was high on drugs, and so yeah, there's a lot of lore around this story, around this book. So what was it about this book that captured this 13-year-old Mexican girl in the northwest side of Chicago? You have to understand two things. One, my parents were really overprotective and scared to let me do anything. So, two, I resorted to reading, not as a way to escape necessarily, but as a way to kind of explore worlds that I had no access to. And again, reading was my thing in middle school, it still is, and I read a good number of books, but On the Road was really life-changing for me as a 13-year-old, just because it was really different from anything else that I had read before. The book has a lot about traveling, being on the road, obviously. There's a lot of jazz and drugs, things that I did not experience as a 13-year-old, so it was very eye-opening. The book is also full of themes of nonconformity and going against society's expectations, all of which appeal to me as a 13-year-old, and kind of looking back, it's a very millennial way of thinking, I think. So that definitely has stuck with me. But this is also the book that inspired me to want to write stories of my own. And it's a little ironic and funny because this is the book that Truman Capote famously said it's not writing, it's just typing, which I don't agree with that, but that's okay. But then when I was in undergrad, I read Toni Morrison and like immediately gave up on that dream of wanting to become a writer. But I did start writing again recently, so did not fully give up on that. Thanks. I do have to acknowledge though that this book is really problematic, like from a 2024 lens. It's pretty sexist. It is pretty racist, and it shows us in America that at the time I would have experienced in a very different way. And I want to acknowledge that, and it's important to acknowledge that just because I think it speaks volumes to just like the lack of diverse books that I had growing up, that like this is the book that really caught me. But since then, I read a lot of books that, I think as a 13-year-old I would have loved. And I'm actually very jealous of teens and youth today because they have a lot of diverse books and a lot of diverse media. I wouldn't necessarily say that this book is my favorite book. I actually wouldn't really recommend it. There's a movie which I also might not recommend, but if you are like really curious to see what it's about, go see the movie, I guess. For better or for worse, this book has been a huge part of my life, so much so that my first tattoo was actually Jack Kerouac's face. It's on my arm if you want to see it later. Yes, I have read a lot of his books, so yeah, that was like my whole like teenage era. So ultimately this book is what led me to develop my love of reading and writing. This kind of just like really like started that engine going. I think that I became an educator, really kind of started a little bit with this book. And I love to talk to students about their writing and what they're reading. Like I said, I'm still a baby educator, still have a long road ahead of me. But yeah, so far it's been really fun and exciting. And yeah, thank you.